The Manuscript of Survival, Part 302. April 23, 2013. The storm has subsided somewhat now, and the waves have quieted down compared to the much more intense surges many of you experienced only last week. This is all a part of the natural cycle of things, and you have all more or less become rather familiar with how this works by now. And this time, we think you will all feel the need to take some deep breaths and savor the stillness that will follow in their wake, for this time, you have certainly been through the ringer in more ways than one. Let us assure you all that you will have become so much strengthened by this ordeal, for contrary to expectations, these intense energetic upgrades do not leave you totally floored for long now. Rather, you will feel an instantaneous relief when they subside, and not only that, you will also simultaneously feel an urge to literally get up and go. For, as usual during these very intense bouts of adjustments, anything concerning the future, whether it be imminent or more distant, seems almost impossible to even contemplate. But now, as this mental fog seems to have dissipated along with all of the physical symptoms, you will find yourself eager to set things into action. For some, there will be things to plan and endeavors to initiate, while for others, there will still be the frustration of wanting so strongly to just do something while at the same time you have no clear idea yet as to what this something is. This frustration of not knowing just what to do with all of this energy surging through your body and soul now can be a bit hard to maneuver around, but trust us when we say that you will all in some way find an outlet for all of this seemingly pent-up energy. For now, as the veils keep thinning more and more, your soul will start to speak to you in a way it has not done before. For your soul knows your true purpose, and it will start to prod at you in all sorts of ways in order for you to grasp the meaning of all of this. And so you might find yourself in an unexpected place at a very unexpected time, or there will be chance meetings, both with people you might be familiar with before, or with total strangers. In other words, much will be set into motion now so that you will find a way to maneuver yourself into the right position as it were. For some, this will even entail a very different physical setting than the one they are currently in. In other words, do not be surprised if you find yourself moving away from something, or finding yourself searching for a new place. This could pertain to your workplace, or even where you live, so this can be experienced in all sorts of ways. Again, this process is a very complex one indeed, as you are all players on this gigantic field called the New World, and as such, your interactions will be matched with those that need your participants in some way. For this is not a solitary journey anymore, dear ones, as this is to all intents and purposes a collective effort. And even if your life will be unique to you, and your experiences will not be the same as those of your neighbors, they are all connected in a way that will ensure the best outcome to all. For now, you are all a part of this worldwide web of enlightened souls, and just like the filaments of the spider's web, you are all linked together by almost invisible, but oh so strong filaments of light. And just like in a spider's web, you cannot connect with one tiny thread and expect it not to have any effect on the whole. For you are all linked through this web, and what one person does, will ring out across the whole web and affect you all. And no, this will not mean that one person can do harm to everyone else. For this is not a web that connects in a way that can be deemed as harmful in any way. For this web is all about channeling the beneficial rays of the light, and it cannot be manipulated in any way by others trying to use it for anything else. So in this way, it is also a safety net. For as long as you have chosen to connect yourself to this web, you are also protected by the combined power it generates, and as such, you have also been given the best protection there is. For the light is supporting you on all sides now, and if you feel yourself falling in any way, this web of light is there to catch your fall. As always, it is governed by free will if you choose to attach yourself to this web of light in the first place, and so this net cannot help those still decided to stay unattached as it were. But for all those who have opened their very core to the light, this connection is now so strong it cannot be ripped asunder. And just as the slim threads of a spider's net are strong enough to carry the weight of beings many, many times larger than the creator of it, so too are these connectors of light capable of holding the weight not only of each and every one of you. For by connecting through this web, you all make it even stronger, and every time one soul is added to this intricately woven structure, the structure in itself becomes even more powerful. So there is certainly no risk of it becoming overloaded and susceptible to breaking apart. Far from it, it is only becoming more and more sturdy and reliable as the time passes and you are being joined by new team members every day. For as we spoke about in an earlier missive, this stream of newly enlightened beings is starting to gather momentum now, and this is a process that will only speed up. The outcome of that is a very positive one indeed, but it will also engender its opposite. For as this web of light is becoming bigger and more powerful, the very fact that it is casting its net ever wider will engender a not so positive reaction in all of those still hell-bent on staying separate from it. For they will see and feel how this web of light is encroaching on them on all sides, and so they will again start to flail their arms about in a desperate attempt to keep these gossamer thin filaments of light out of their life. For the light is frightening to so many, as they are not used to anything else but the dark shadows. So they will scrunch up their eyes and their hearts in one last attempt to keep this light out, because they are convinced that it will harm them in any way. But the light will not harm anyone, for the light will bring in the love that is so desperately needed, even in the darkest of souls. That is where the need for love is the largest one, but that is also where the fear of love is so huge. It will make that person do the most outrageous of things in order to try to keep the light at bay. For when the light enters, the darkness must go, and with it, everything that used to be there will be forced to change in a way that is so profound. For remember, there is no darkness that is able to withstand the power of the light, and even the darkest of beings will become transformed whenever the light is allowed to access it. And whatever has been programmed to stay in the dark, will fight for its very life in order to be left to do what it has been taught to do. So the light is not welcome everywhere, and it will be told so in no uncertain terms. But the light will sometimes find a way to penetrate anyway, for there is many a darkened soul that has left a chink in their armor. And this small opening is all the light needs in order to come all the way in. So remember, there will be light seeping into the most unexpected of places, but that is because there is a small opening that has been left there on purpose for the light to find it. Only those who have chosen to deliberately close themselves 100% for this light, will be left in the dark as it were. For this is something that will not and cannot be forced upon anyone. Light is like the water, it will seep in and flow the natural paths that have been set up for it. But where it has been blocked completely off, it will turn around and find another place to fertilize. And now, there are many a fertile ground being exposed in former totally barren places. So even as the clamor from those shutting themselves up as clams will continue to escalate, the light will continue in its silent way to penetrate further and further into the core of humanity. And once there, it cannot be cast out again. For once the light has been invited in, it has come to stay forever. So look around you, and we guarantee you that you will see the first traces of this light in so many of your fellow men. And know that even in those making a big outward show that they are fighting off the light in any way they can, there are some amongst them where it has started to drip in already. It will be a very small trickle at first, but this small trickle is all it takes. And soon, these small trickles will all start to grow into a veritable roar of liberating light in even the toughest of souls. The Constant Companions. Channeled by Asia North. asianorth.wordpress.com